All right, so now what we're going to do is we now have a start screen. So if I go to start screen, you can see we can start the game. But now what I'd like to do is basically add a pause menu so that when I hit pause, it will stop the game and overlay a screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and just make the screen that's going to overlay, and then we'll make all the functionality and make it work. Okay, so to do that, right now I have this canvas element, right, that has both the lives and the timer on it. You might want to, well, no, you do want to. I want to have a separate canvas for the other thing. If I go to game component and I do game component UI and I do text or something, it's going to automatically add it to this canvas. So what I want to do is make a new canvas. So go to game object UI and make a new canvas, and we'll call this one the pause menu canvas. All right, that way. All right, and then with this selected, I'm going to go ahead and add some things here. So I'm going to go to game object UI. First thing I want to be able to do is just have it overlay this. So I'm going to go down to panel, and that's going to overlay this panel. So you can see like it lays over top of it. And right now it has this default color. So maybe I can, I don't know, let's go a little bit darker. And then right here, see how it says RGB? So red, green, blue, that's what we're typically used to. But there's also A, that's alpha. So if I go to the right, I can make it 100% covered up, or I can make it not covered up at all. I'm just going to go a little bit more, and I'm going to go a little bit darker too. So we're going to go like that. That way it's there, but it's semi-transparent, okay? So we're going to do that. That looks acceptable. I'm not going to bother renaming it because I'm lazy. So there's that. Let's go ahead and game object UI, and let's add text, and we'll just call it like pause text. Let's just call this pause panel. It's going to bother me. Pause panel. Okay. So pause text. I'm going to click on this and Alt and Shift and click there. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to, actually, I'll just hit the little, where's the little knock right here next to this. And we'll go ahead and we will do Sketch 3D for my type of font. I'm going to change the color to white so that you can read it. And I'm going to change the size of it to, let's say, 48, which is going to be way too big for this. So let's go ahead and do like 60. And let's do 300. That should be big enough. And we'll just say pause like that. Okay, so now we know that it says pause. I'm going to take position and just move it up a little bit so I have room for my other stuff. And I will also add that shadow component just to help it pop a little bit. Okay, so it says that, says pause. And then I'm just going to make two buttons. I'll make one button that says back, so it just goes back to the game. Maybe right back to game, I don't know. And I'll make another button that says start screen or something. Okay, so basically we're just going to have those two options. So you can go back to the game, or you can continue the game. Okay, so good. So while we're still in there, go ahead and do game object UI, and we're going to do another button, and we'll just call this back button. Okay, and for the UI, I'm just going to go ahead and grab that one that I made before. Where you at? Button. Great. And let's just change the color. I don't remember what the color was I did before, but we're just going to do that. That's great. And I think I'm going to change some of the size of this. Let's do this. What did I do before? 50 seems kind of big. 36? I don't remember what the size was. I'd probably try to make it the same size as what should have been before, but so we'll call that back button, and then I'm going to grab the text that's underneath it, and we'll just call this back text. Great. And I'm just going to type in back for the text. And we're going to change the font to my other one, Cocoa Goose. And I'm just going to change this to, let's say, 18. I think 18 is acceptable. Good. All right. So I think that'll look fine. We got a nice looking back button. I would go through if I was you and really prettify it, but I don't want to waste a lot of time on that because I'm just trying to make the thing work. So back text, but make sure this one looks good before carrying on to the next area. So alone for right now. Okay, so I'm just going to take this back button. I'm just going to Control D to duplicate it. And instead of back button, we're going to call this one, we're going to call it start screen button. Okay, and then the text, we'll just call this start screen text. And then we'll say start screen. I don't know if that's a good name for it or not. Okay. And I'm just going to take this and I am going to move it. Oops, not that one. Sorry, this one. Grab the button. I want to move that down. We'll say -75. Glorious. Okay. So now I got a back. Maybe I should write back to game. Back to game. That fits. All right, back to game or start screen. All right, back to game or start screen. So we have those two buttons. That's all looking good. So I have this canvas. This is my pause menu canvas, right? So I'm basically what I'm going to do is I'm trying to turn it on and off. Oops, not that one. Sorry. I'm going to turn this on and off. Okay, and I want to pause the screen. Okay, now to do this, we're going to need to have a button that's basically dedicated to this. So I'm just going to use what's already there. So I'm going to go to Edit, Project Settings, and then you'll see, it went over here, you'll see underneath Input, we have our axes, and there's already one for Cancel, okay? So I'm going to use Cancel, which in the case of mine is like the Escape button, right? Or Joystick button 1 or whatever. You could hook it up to whatever you want. You know, obviously, if this was hooked up to an Xbox controller, just make sure that it works with, the start screen or the start button on whatever controller you're using. Okay, but in this case, we're just going to use Cancel. I could make a new one if I wanted. You know, right here instead of 18, type in 19, and a new one will show up. I think it'll just be called Cancel 2 or something. But we're just going to use Cancel. So right now, Cancel is going to be my axis. Okay. All right, good. So we have that. That's all looking good. And what we're going to do is the game controller has that game script attached to it. I'm just going to go right ahead and use that game script. So let's see. Here we go. So I'm just going to open up the game script. So just so you see underneath scripts, go ahead and save this just so it's all set up. Underneath scripts, the game controller script. Just double click on that if it's not already open. All right. And we just need to add a couple of things. So up on the top, I'm going to need something that's going to hold my pause screen, the object, right? Because I want to be able to turn this on and off, right? So I need something that's going to hold this so I can turn it on and off when I want it off. Because obviously by default, I want it off until I hit that button. So I'm just going to make a function that's going to hold that. So let's put it up here and tab. And I'm just going to do private, and it's going to be of type game object. I just want the object. I don't need to do anything. I'm not like accessing anything specific about it. I just want the thing as a whole, and I'm just going to call it pause screen UI. All right. And then on start, I'm going to go ahead and like I did here where I found that timer text, I'm going to find the that pause screen. So we're just going to do pause screen UI. And it's just going to be game object dot find, and the game object need to find is going to be the name of this, and I named it pause menu canvas. I'm just going to copy that, Control C, and we're just going to put it in quotes, Control V. So the pause menu canvas. Boom. Now you notice here I said get component. I don't want to get a component of it. I want the object as a whole, so I don't need to add any more stuff to that. That's all I need. Now after I grab it, I actually need to turn it off. So pause screen UI dot set active, and we're going to set that to false. It's a Boolean. It's either true or false. So basically, go ahead and save this. It's going to go here. You just leave this on by default, and when I hit play, you can see it's going to automatically turn it off. Hopefully. There it goes. Automatically turns it off. So see how it turned it off right here? So that's good. So pause menu canvas, basically this is the set active. This is set active. Okay, so this is active or not active, active. And you can see you have that for pretty much everything, so you can set active to a bunch of different things, but it's more or less a function. So right by the default, it's going to find it, and then it's going to turn it off until I want to call it, okay? Now, I need to make a function that's going to hold the pause screen. So I'll just put it after this timer, and we will just make it a public void pause screen. That's the name of the function that I decided to make. And then we're going to put in there. So when we pause, it's going to run this function. Now I need something that's going to make that happen. So to do that, I'm going to go up to update, and we'll just put it after timer. I'm going to listen for, on update, on every frame, it's going to listen for the player pushing a button. So if you remember, we've done this before. So we're going to say if the input dot get, this is a button, it's not an axis because it's not like a left or right or up or down or anything like that. Button down. So if get button down, and the button we're going to listen for is cancel. So basically, if that, oops. So if this is true, because this will be either on or off, if input that get button, yeah, then it's going to be, you're going to run the function pause screen like that. Okay. Now I don't have to put those brackets because it's just a single. I want to put a space there. It's just a single line of code. If there was more than one line, that's something you would have to do. But in this case, actually, I don't have to do that, so I'm not going to. But so basically, if you press that, it's going to say cancel. And just to make sure that this works, let's just go ahead and in here do debug.log, and we'll just say pause. Okay. All right, and let's go here. Make sure we don't get any errors. Looks like not. Let's hit play. Come on. Play. All right. And I'm just going to look down here to see if anything gets written. All right, so I'm going to hit escape because that's my pause menu. And you can see nothing's happening. There it goes. Pause. Okay. So you can see, there we go. Great. Every time I'm hitting pause, it's doing that. Great. All right. So that's working. So basically, it's saying pause when I hit that. So now I want to do what I actually wanted to do when I hit that button. So what we're going to do is this. I want to turn that screen on or off. Okay. So it's kind of a weird bit of code, but it's like this. Pause screen.ui, because that's, or pause screen UI, because that's the name of the object that's the variable that's holding the object there, and then it's gonna be set active. But I want to make it like a switch. So what I'm gonna do is put in a semicolon pause screen UI dot active in hierarchy, just like that. Boom. And now what that's going to do is it's basically going to invert its activeness or not activeness. So if I hit save and go here, and give it a second to yell at me. Come on. All right. And now it'll turn off by default. But when I hit escape, it pops on and off, right? But what you may or may not notice is that my player, it's still moving, which means that time is still going, which you might want that. Depends on the type of game you're making, but most people typically don't want that. So I want to stop time, right? So that should be relatively easy to do. Is this still recording? I hope it's still recording. Looks like it might be crashed, but let's hope not. So basically inside of here, hang on a second, I just want to make sure that I even have the option. Okay, still says it's recording, so let's hope it is. All right, so what I want to do here is basically, where am I? Pause screen. I want to change the time scale. So we're going to basically say if time.time scale if that is equal to 1, which is normal time, which is the speed that it normally runs, you're going to go ahead and take the time scale and set that equal to a value of 0, which means basically stop time. Else, you're just going to go ahead and do time. Oops, thought I hit enter. Enter, tab. You're going to go ahead and say time scale. You're going to set that back equal to 1. So basically, if time is already going at normal speed, make it 0. But if it is going at speed, then make it 1. So this will basically turn it on and off. It's more or less a switch. Okay. And now we'll go here, and we will hope and pray, or not pray. I'm an atheist, but hope and wish, I guess. All right. So we're gonna go here and okay. All right. So boom, and you can see. There we go. Well, now you can't tell. Let me go over it. Watch. I'll jump and hit. Hey, see, it paused. And if I hit this, so works pretty good. So I just hit escape, and we have the two things. Now, that works. That's all fine and dandy, but we might be able to stop this game, but we can't actually do anything yet, so we need to set up our buttons and what have you. Okay, so it's going to be pretty easy to do some of them. The only one I actually need to create is the one that's going to load the start screen, because I'm just going to, on the back to game, I'm going to set that equal to the same function that we use for the other thing. So I need to make a thing that's going to load the start screen specifically. So I'm going to go back to this, and if you look on this one, we already did this victory script, and what that does is it loads the next level. So it looks at the current level and loads the next level. So that's actually not going to work. I want to load a specific level. The way we have it now is that every time we get to the end of the level, it loads the next one. Even the start screen uses this. What I want to do is make it so it loads the start screen specific. So what we're going to do is, and this has to be public void, and we'll just call it load. It's not like that. Load start screen. So I'm going to name it that. And I'm just going to have it do scene manager dot load scene, and then it needs an argument, and I'm just going to put 0. So you might be like, where's that 0 coming from? If you look, file, build settings, 0 is that first level, which we put start screen on. So that's where it's getting from. I could also type in start screen, and that would also work. Okay, so you can either use the index or you can use the name of the level itself. I like to just use the index in case, I don't know. I feel like index just makes sense. All right. It's also simpler and quicker. So start screen, good. All right. Now the other thing I did is if you made, when I did the pause screen, normally I wouldn't put public in there. I put public so that I can use that as a button as well, and you'll see why. So go back here, so save it, go back here, and what we're going to do is go to these buttons. So I got this back button, or let's do the start screen button. All right, and I got that on click, so click on the on click. And I'm going to drop my game controller in there. All right, and then I want to access the game controller scripts. And the one I want is, which one am I doing? Start screen. We want to load start screen. So that's going to run that script when I click on it. I'm going to go to my back button, and I'm going to do the same thing. Drop the game. Oh, whoops. So I do that. I forgot to do the on click thing. On click. And now drop the game controller onto it, and game controller script. And this one is going to go ahead and be pause screen. Because what that's going to do is, if you remember, when I hit escape, when I'm in pause, it goes back to the game. So I'll just use the same thing I set up for the escape button. So it works twofold. So whether they hit escape or not, they can always hit this. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And okay, I'm going to let him kill me, and then I'll kill him. I'll hit escape, and if I escape, right, it goes back and forth, but if I hit back to game, it also goes back. See? Pretty cool. And you could do the same thing, like set this up to a button instead of hitting the escape button. It's just escapes nice and easy, and it's right there. And if I hit start screen, it goes to my start screen. Great, let's start the game. It gives me an error, and that's because the start screen, well, I'll show you in a second. So That's great. Let's go ahead and save that. Let's open up the start screen. So I'm going to go to Scenes, Start Screen, and Game Controller Script. Actually, let me hit play. Let's see. Oh, I know why. So the reason why it's not working is that if you look at this script now, it's the same problem I had before where I was looking for this canvas. In the very beginning of the game, the script, it actually looks for that pause screen. If you look on this one, there is no pause screen. So what I'm going to do is we're going to need that pause screen in all of them. I'm going to prefab it. So I'm going to go to my scenes. I'm going to go to level 1. And then open this up, go to prefabs. And then I'm going to go to this pause menu canvas. I'm going to drop it in here to make it a prefab. And then I can drop that. Let's save that. I can drop that in every level now. So I'll just do File, Open Scene, Scenes, and let's go to level or Start Screen. And I'm just going to go ahead and drop this in there. And let's hit play. It should work fine. Although it's going to be kind of weird because the pause menu will pop up, but I don't really care that much. All right. Yay. So then if you hit Start Game, that's good. If I hit Escape and go to Start Screen, that works. So Start and so on and so forth. I don't know what's going on here. It's weird. Yay. Okay. So, yeah. And then I would just basically also have to add that to my level 2. Yep, go ahead and save. My level 2, make sure that you also add that pause menu prefab. So the pause menu canvas, drop it in there as well. Okay. And that should work. So, yay, escape, go to start screen. What's going on here? Back to game. It's like glitching out. Start screen. Oh, you know what I think it might be? Let me see something. Pause menu. Play. I want to double check something real quick here. Escape back to game. Feel like this is working, right? Okay. That's working. I might need to sort order. Let's go ahead and actually let's unpause this. This might be an issue. Let's prefab open it, and then on this here, go to the sort order and make it like 10. Okay. All right. That's fine. Actually, make it 100 because this should go above everything. All right. So good. And let's go ahead and save that and play. Yada. Okay, come on. Boom. Okay. So figure that out. Something weird's going on there, but it should work otherwise. All right. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. Where's the? Ooh. All right, so a couple of quick fixes after looking at a couple things. The reason why my back and start button were not working on level 2 is because when I did it, it's there. I have this whole thing, but if you remember, I have to drag and put the game controller script on there. Right now, when I click, it's not doing anything because it's not running any functions. So, it's a back button, so that's going to go ahead and be pause screen. I should probably find a better solution for this because, so game controller again, drag to this on the start screen button, and that one will be game controller script and load start screen. There you go. So now that will work correctly. So that's one issue that I ran into. The other issue I run into was this. So if I play now, it should hopefully work. Let's go to start screen. So you have to do that every time, unfortunately. If I escape and go to start screen, it's still not working, I'm not sure. But the other issue I was running into was that when I was starting at the start screen and playing it, it was going to the next level and it was paused. So you need to do, and the reason why is I'll show you real quick what I mean. So if I go like this and save it, I'm just going to go here so you can see what I'm talking about. Give it a second. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. So if I hit start screen, that's fine. But watch, if I go back to game, or I'm sorry, back start screen, and then I go start game, you see how it's paused? The reason why is that when I hit, watch when I hit space, it'll toggle time back on, but now I'm in here. The reason why was when I hit pause, it stops the time, and then I tell it to go back to the previous level. Time still stopped. Nothing tells it to turn on. So what you want to do is on your code, in the start here, just tell it to initially set up that time scale, set it equal to 1 initially. So it'll always start every level with a time scale of 1, and that will fix that issue. Okay. And then the other thing, yeah, so that's fine for that. And then the other thing was just on each level, so I'm going to open up this level here. Come on, you can do it. On each level underneath the pause menu, just make sure that you drag the pause screen to the back button and the start screen, the load start screen script onto the start screen button. Okay, and that should be good. So yeah, complete the one intro, then complete this other one.